What is going on, everyone? Welcome back to the World According to Briggs and another video on where you could live in the United States for under $1,500 a month. I put a poll up on the community tab on this channel, The World According to Briggs, the other day and asked what region of the country should we do next. The two with the most votes were the Pacific Northwest and what some call the Deep North. The Deep North is Minnesota, the Dakotas, Montana. Seeing that the Pacific Northwest received 40% of the votes and the Deep North got 25%, we'll do them back to back in order. Today we're looking at the Pacific Northwest, which includes Oregon, Washington, and Idaho. We already covered Washington and Oregon when we did the West Coast, I get that, but people wanted more, so we're going by regions and looking at other cities that fall into that category. This is the fourth video in this series. If this is your first time to this series, I'll give you the quick rundown of why we settled on $1,500. Plenty of Americans are going into retirement where their only source of income is a monthly check from the Social Security Administration, which is in the neighborhood of $1,500 a month. The average worker in the United States makes about double that, and if you retire from the military after 20 years, you see about $2,500 a month if you're enlisted, and about $4,700 a month if you're commissioned. Those are averages, okay? So if your check is like $2,490, we're looking at averages. So the lowest is $1,500. We aren't adding up all your possible expenses. We're only doing rent, food, utilities, and say clothing. Just keep that in mind. We aren't looking at medical, insurance, car payment, all that other stuff. These are designed to just give the average person an idea of what a town or city will cost you to live there. All right, let's see what we found out. Number 10, Prosser, Washington. Prosser, Washington is a town of almost 6,000 people on the Yakima River in the heart of the Southeast Washington wine country. They have too much wine here, really. Of course, if you're one of the women I know from Southern California, you just yelled blasphemy at your screen because to you, there is no such thing as too much wine. It's like too much Christmas. Prosser is a great town with good stats, and the average rent on a one-bedroom apartment here is $705. You will pay $1,500 a month to live comfortably in Prosser. If you haven't watched the other videos in this series, living comfortably means you aren't going hungry and your utilities aren't in danger of getting cut off every month. You can pay your bills and live comfortably in Prosser on $1,500 a month. Number 9, PRESTON, Idaho. PRESTON, Idaho is a town of just over 5,000 residents just off the Bear River and about 30 minutes north of Logan, Utah, pretty close to the border. If you live in Preston, you are surrounded by farmland and good people. They have almost zero crime here and plenty of community type events, including the Idaho Festival of Lights, which starts the day after Thanksgiving and goes until December 31st. They don't have a bunch of apartment buildings here, but various real estate and government websites come up with an average for a one-bedroom apartment for most towns and cities in the United States. Preston's average rent on a one-bedroom is $680 a month. I looked at the apartment buildings that they do have there, and that seems a little expensive for most of them. They're a lot cheaper. I saw some that were for like $580 and $550 a month. Oh well. Anyway, you only need $1,485 to live comfortably every single month in Preston, Idaho. Number 8, LeGrand, Oregon. Out in eastern Oregon, you have the town of LeGrand and its 13,000 residents. LeGrand is home to Eastern Oregon University, which has been there since 1929. Go Mountaineers. The only stat that isn't good in LeGrand is employment. It's not terrible, it's just not great. They don't have a bunch of great jobs here. For those of you who could bring a job or you're retired, this is a great place, especially for those of you who like to fish, camp, or hike. LeGrand is a wonderful place to call home if that's what you're into. Plenty of it in the surrounding area. If that's not your thing and you're looking for a wild nightlife, don't move here. You'll cry and spend a lot of your free time online looking at YouTube videos about cruises in Las Vegas. A one-bedroom apartment on average goes for about $676 here, and oddly enough, you only need $1,476 to live comfortably in LeGrand, Oregon. Number 7, CONNELL, Washington. CONNELL, Washington is another place that doesn't cost a bunch to survive. I'm sure part of the low cost of living here has a lot to do with there isn't anything to do. You save a lot not having a reason to leave the house to be entertained. But if you're looking to save money and live an uneventful life, rent a U-Haul and head to CONNELL, Washington. I have a relative, she lives not too far from there, north of there. Anyway, she said the Burger Factory, which is a restaurant there, doesn't look like the best place to eat, but it's really good. So she said stop by there and try it out if you're in the area. She actually lives in a town called Ritzville, like putting on the Ritz, Ritzville is not ritzy at all. They've only got like 1,000 people. It's out in the middle of nowhere. Anyway, Connell's stats are solid until you get to schools and employment. Again, not terrible, just not great. They have very low crime and a cost of living that could be considered dirt cheap. A one-bedroom apartment goes for $667. You only need about $1,471 to live comfortably in Connell, Washington. Number 6, Moscow, Idaho. Russia and Idaho both have a Moscow. The cool thing about the Moscow in Idaho is the secret police don't show up at your house in the middle of the night and make you disappear. Moscow is on the Idaho-Washington border, about 45 minutes north of Lewiston, Idaho. We talked about Clarkston, Washington in a previous video. Lewiston, Clarkston, Lewis and Clark, they're right across from each other. One's in Idaho, one's in Washington. Anyway, that whole thing is about 45 minutes south of here. This is a town that has become a popular migration point in the last couple of years. The University of Idaho is within the city limits, and it doesn't have a lot of jobs within the city limits. Everything else, stat-wise, is outstanding in Moscow, Idaho. This is a good-sized city with about 25,000 residents and plenty to do. The whole job thing, like I've said many times before, if you're bringing a job with you, working remotely, or you are retired, Moscow is a solid option, especially if you want to be in a city versus some small town. This is a good place to live. A one-bedroom apartment, on average, is going to be about $658 a month, and to get by here, you only need $1,450 a month. Not bad. Number 5, PAYETTE, Idaho. PAYETTE is north and a little west of Nampa, Idaho, on the Snake and Payette River. Originally named Boomerang, yeah, I'm not kidding, but this was when it was a construction camp for the Oregon Short Line from 1882 to 1884. Logs were floated down the river to sawmills at the camp, and they produced railroad ties. After the completion of the railroad, the settlement was moved upstream to its present site and was incorporated in 1891 as PAYETTE. No more Boomerang. I think they should have kept Boomerang. Sounds kind of cool. This is a quiet little town of about 8,000 residents. The only stat that doesn't get a good grade here is the schools. So if you're retired, chances are your kids are too old for 6th grade math and you don't have to worry about it. But if you do have an adult child struggling with 6th grade math, maybe move someplace with better schools. That's my advice to you. Rent here is only about $644 a month for a one-bedroom apartment, and you only need $1,485 to get by comfortably in PAYETTE, Idaho. Number 4, Baker City, Oregon. South of La Grande, Oregon, you have the town of Baker City, and it's almost 10,000 residents. It was named after Edward D. Baker, the only U.S. senator ever killed in military combat. Yeah, Spanish-American War. I guess he never got that memo that you only vote to send young men to war when you're a senator, not actually go with them. But hey, at least he did his duty, right? And he got a town named after him. The Oregon Short Line Railroad that we talked about earlier came to Baker City in 1884, spurring some growth, and by 1900, it was the largest city between Portland and Salt Lake City. It was also a major trading hub for the region. In 1910, Baker City residents voted to shorten the name of the city to just simply Baker. The name change became official in 1911. Another vote in 1989 restored it back to Baker City. Baker City has decent stats all around, and you aren't too far from mountains, lakes, and rivers. If you're the outdoors type, this is a great place. It's surrounded by farmland. There's no other real big cities near it, so it's a nice place to relax and enjoy a nice quiet lifestyle. The rent here for a one-bedroom apartment is estimated to be $625 a month, and you only need $1,412 a month to live comfortably in Baker City. Number 3, UMATILLA, Oregon. UMATILLA is a small community on the Columbia River that one time had to be moved back a little. Really, in the 1960s, they had to move the entire town further away from the river. The United States Corps of Engineers determined that it would be likely flooded out and residents would be washed down the Columbia if the dam that's just upriver had failed. Between 1965 and 1968, the town was completely rebuilt south of the railroad tracks and, out of danger. All the buildings on the original site were purchased and demolished. You could still see the street grid from Google Earth. Kind of interesting. UMATILLA is a great place to save money, not make money. They don't have many jobs here, so if you can work remotely, perfect place, or if you're retired, it's worth a look. They don't have anything to rent here really, like apartment-wise, so it's estimated that it would be about $605 a month if they did, but livable homes here only go for in the neighborhood of $200,000. To get by in UMATILLA comfortably, you need $1,400 a month. That's it, not bad. Number 2. Glens Ferry, Idaho. Not too far from Mountain Home, Idaho, you have a great little town on the Snake River called Glens Ferry. This is another one of those places that doesn't have rentals, but they still give an estimate, and that estimate is $592 a month for a one-bedroom on average. Take that for what it's worth. In Glens Ferry, you shouldn't be renting anyway. Homes here are estimated to be about $98,000. They only have 2 for sale right now. They go for $140,000 and $170,000. This is a perfect place for someone that likes to fish and relax. This is a small community, and it's beautiful in this area. The river's right there. It's great. They have a nice little boat launch. You got a fishing boat. You want to get on the Snake River? This place is great. And it's not terribly far from Mountain Home, which has a Walmart and all the good stuff you need. To live comfortably in Glens Ferry, you only need $1,330 a month on average. And before we get to number 1, don't forget to hit that like button, don't forget to subscribe, and hit that little bell notification. That helps out the channel. That lets you know when we've uploaded. Watch it right away, it helps the stats, and the channel grows, and we make more videos, and we all live happily ever after together. All right, on to number 1. And number 1, Rupert, Idaho. Rupert is a town of over 5,000 residents between Pocatello and Twin Falls, Idaho. On our first video in this series, we talked about a town not too far from Rupert called Burley, Idaho. Very similar, just Burley's on the river. Rupert was founded in 1906 on the announcement of the construction of a nearby dam. Not long after electricity came to Rupert from the dam, Rupert began to grow. Rupert was one of the first places in the world to have electric streetlights. How weird is that? Who would have thought a couple hundred farmers and town folk were jonesing for streetlights? Moving on. Rupert is a great town of almost 6,000 residents, and it has solid stats all around. The cost of living is almost 25% lower than the national average, and you only need $1,310 to get by in Rupert, Idaho. Now, they don't have any apartment buildings or anything like that, so their estimate is a one-bedroom apartment would go for $565 a month if they had them. Again, take that for what it's worth. But Rupert, Idaho is the best place to live for under $1,500 a month in the Pacific Northwest. Alright, that's our video today. I hope you guys enjoyed it. Hope you got some information out of it. Like we said before, don't forget all the links and all the thumbs up and all the subscribe and all that good stuff. Tell us in the comment section below, which one was your favorite place on this? Which one would you want to move to? Alright, everybody have a great day. Be nice to each other.